Okay, so when I woke up this morning, I looked outside the window and I saw that the wind was blowing, and so I put on a turtleneck because I thought that it would be cold outside, but it's the middle of July and it's actually really freaking hot, and I don't know where my brain was going with all of that, but I'm at school site ready to move in, and this is the situation that we have today. So as many of you know, I am a school counselor working at an elementary school, and I'm currently in the process of redecorating a new office space. For the past 2 years, I have been splitting my time between 2 different elementary schools, but for the first time for my upcoming 3rd year, I am finally full-time at one school site. And so I'm really excited, and I thought that it would be really fun to bring you all along on my redecorating process, all while sharing some fun facts about my career. I'm currently sitting in my old office, and it's generally a really bittersweet, more bitter and more sad than sweet feeling to be in here. But man, I can't believe the day is finally here and I have to stop moving stuff out of here. I really invested a lot of time, and like even here you can see like students wrote me thank you letters for the first time. It's just a crazy experience to have to move offices. I definitely envisioned myself being here for a really long time. But anyways, sad to be leaving the school site. It was a really great school. The PTA was amazing. The principal was absolutely incredible. And just sad to be leaving. Goodbye. Can't believe that this space looks so empty now, but I'm gonna leave these decorations up here in case the next school counselor wants them, but if not, I'm more than happy to move them out when we are back in August and when I see her again. But in the meantime, it's time to head out. So we are currently headed over to the dollar store. I'm gonna pick up some items for the office and decorate and make some mindfulness jars.
Don't you know I'm local?
Oh my gosh, my school site is right next to an extensive shopping mall. This is really dangerous. Hello. We are currently taking a break from moving in, just went to the dollar store, and now we're in my car. And so I thought that I would just take a moment to just explain some questions and answers to this whole school counseling career. I think a lot of times when I tell people that I work as a school counselor, not too many people have an idea of what that role entails or what that job looks like. And so just to clarify, I am not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a doctor, I am not a full-time licensed therapist, and I do not prescribe medication, and I do not test students, either for academic scores or for anything on the DSM-5. I am a school counselor, not a guidance counselor, which is another word that people back in the day would call my position because they thought that my job was to mostly guide students to achieve learning standards and college rates. But now our school counseling career is so much more comprehensive than that. And so we are shifting away from the guidance counselor role into a school counselor role, which is more holistic, I think, and supportive in terms of what we actually do in a school setting. So just to give you kind of a crash course on the school counseling career, school counselors are meant to meet with students in the classroom. We are meant to meet with students in groups, and then we meet with students individually in one-on-one sessions as well. The majority of the time wants to be spent meeting with students in the classroom because that's an opportunity for a counselor to get to know every student at the school. I think when you spend the majority of your time in groups or in individual sessions, you only get to meet a small amount of students. And so when you're pushing in or going into classrooms and teaching lessons or assisting and providing support or observing, it's an opportunity for you to get to know a whole variety of students and get to know the different classrooms and teachers. I think a really cool thing about school counseling is that you're not just limited to one classroom or to one class, but you really have an opportunity to be a known presence across all grades and across all classrooms and with all the staff at the school. You work really closely with your principal. You and the principal are pretty much best friends at school because you support each other so much, and you both have the opportunity to meet all the students at your school and provide support in really unique ways. So I work as an elementary counselor, and my school has a TK, or traditional kindergarten classroom, all the way up to 5th grade. And I think what's really special about this career is that I get to know all of the students at different grade levels and really see their maturity change and their developmental growth. I think that's the most exciting thing, and one of my personal goals as a counselor is to see my kindergarteners grow and graduate as 5th graders and see them go into middle school and high school and beyond. Another really unique thing about school counseling at the elementary level is in your graduate programs, you hear a lot from your professors about how you want to be client-centered and you want your student or your client to come up with their own solutions. But one really unique thing about elementary counseling is that, yes, you do want your students to come to the realizations of their actions, and especially in conflict resolution, you would love the student to take initiative to apologize or practice restorative practices. But I think as an elementary counselor, what's different is that you actually have to be an integral role in their decision-making process. Realistically, when you're at an elementary school and, for example, you're working with a kindergartner is not going to come up with this realization of, oh, this is exactly what I needed to do in that moment, and so I'm going to go back and restore that conflict and fix it through this kind of apology. I think the school counselor plays a huge role in developing their decision-making process and helping navigate those kind of conversations. And elementary school students do lean on the school counselor for a lot of support and practice in conflict resolution and emotion regulation. And so in comparison to middle school or high school counseling, I think that elementary school counseling has a really unique opportunity to play a very important role in a student's development. When you are working and applying to be a school counselor, you have to have your PPSC, which is your Pupil Personal Services credential. You don't necessarily need a master's, but when I was applying for programs or graduate programs, I just figured I would just take a couple of more classes and get my master's. And schools do award you more and pay you more if you have more credits, so I figured, why not? And it was just a natural decision to get a credential and a master's since I'm already pursuing higher education anyways. And I had the blessing and the opportunity to afford that. But if you are applying to be a school counselor, you don't need your master's. What you really need is just your fieldwork experiences and your credential. A school counseling graduate program is 2 years straight, and so you'll go through, for example, fall and spring semesters, and then you have a summer semester, and then you'll come back for a second fall and spring semesters. And so I was in graduate school from 2015 to 2017 in San Diego. It was so fun, it was so great, and it really provided me with a variety of opportunities to work in schools at all levels. The reason why I went into counseling was, it was actually a really interesting point in my life. When I was a senior in college, I really did not know what the heck I wanted to do. The majority of my work experiences were in mentorships or peer advising or teaching dance, for example. And when I was looking to apply for a job, I knew that I wanted to do something that would allow me to be relational with the people that I was working with and to develop community. And so when I work with anyone, or if I'm in any job, my 3 values are that I seek to ensure that the people I am working with or that I am catering to, and even for myself, that we feel belonging, safety, and joy. And so when I was applying to different jobs in the beginning of senior year, and you know, like with Asian parents, they're just pestering you about what job are you gonna get, what career are you pursuing, what are you gonna do with your life, and you're like, I don't know. And I looked into different programs for nursing. I almost applied to be like an air stewardess. I almost applied for consulting. I thought that I would do something in HR or sales even. I remember my junior year, I did a internship for inside sales, and we just cold called the entire time, and I was like, this is not for me, and I'm not competitive enough, I think, or aggressive enough for sales. And I looked into just a variety of other teaching jobs as well. I applied for Teach for America, and it was actually in that interview with Teach for America, that lady who interviewed me was leaving her position, her teaching position, to pursue her master's in school counseling. And so when I was on that conversation with her, she told me, oh, the position is opening up because I'm actually leaving and I'm pursuing a master's in school counseling. And that was when that light bulb moment went off in my head. I said, oh, I just tucked it in the back of my head and thought, oh, like that's cool, school counseling, don't know anything about it. But when I went home, I actually Googled school counseling because that lady and I had such a great conversation. Our personalities really meshed, and it was just a really energizing conversation. It wasn't just about teaching, but it was just about our values and how we can contribute to our greater community. And when I was looking up school counseling on Google, I looked up the mission values of different schools. I looked up the program, what classes I would be taking, and it just really boiled down and filed into the perfect career for myself. You get to wear so many different hats, and every day is a new day, basically. And I love the opportunities that the career could provide me. And so after I looked up that program, it was November, I believe, and most graduate schools close their applications either in December, January, or March. And so at that time in college, it was like finals week as well and midterms, and I had about 1 to 2 months, depending on the school, to apply. Take my CBEST, take my GRE, and apply and send in all my applications and essays. And so I did all of that in 1 or 2 months, and it was crazy, but I did it, and I got in, and I ended up going to USD, and it was the greatest door of opportunity that I could have ever opened. Another little background about myself. For the past 2 years, I have been splitting my time between 2 different elementary schools, and this is the first time in ever that I am able to go to one school every single day, 5 days a week, and be a part of that school culture. I think working at 2 schools is difficult because you're splitting your time, and the schools that I was at, we had about 800 students each, and so that's 1,600 students on your caseload. And according to the ASCA national standards, your ratio is supposed to be like 1 counselor to 250 students, but obviously that does not exist in many schools. It does exist, but not very often. So at the elementary level, the majority of counselors split their time, meaning for example, for the past 2 years, I was split between 2 schools. And so on Mondays, and Thursdays I was at one school, and then Tuesdays and Fridays I was at another school. And Wednesdays I would alternate. So one week I would be at one school, and then another Wednesday I would be at the other school, and then the Wednesday after that I would go back to the other school, and etc. And it's really difficult to really invest in the students appropriately when you're splitting your time, because you miss out on so much in a day. And for example, when I'm at a school on Monday and I don't come back until Thursday, you're missing activities that happen on Tuesday and Wednesday. You miss out on staff meetings, you miss out on IEP meetings or SSTs, you miss out on things that happen out at recess or in the classrooms, and it's just a really big time gap. And yes, I felt like I was as successful as I could have been with that kind of schedule, but with an opportunity to be full-time at one school site, I think I'm very lucky, because being able to really participate in that school culture and contribute to it actively, I think that's really important. I really hope that we progress towards really recognizing the importance of school counseling and how important it is for counselors to be invested in one school. One of my future goals is to eventually mentor graduate students and be a professor in a graduate school. I think that that would be such an awesome opportunity to connect with graduate students and to learn from each other. I think that graduate students have a lot of energy that is really captivating, and I would love to invest in that kind of community. But that's a long-term goal. I think right now I just really feel lucky and so blessed to be able to work in a career that I see myself in for a really long time. Growing up in the Bay Area, I think that one of the cultures that we have here, especially with all these tech startups and contract jobs, is that jobs are temporary and people work in one position for 6 months and then they're like, oh, I don't know if this is the right fit. Or they work at a company for 1 or 2 years and they're like, oh, this is just a stepping stone for where I want to go. I just really feel lucky to be able to say that I go to a career where I feel really excited to go into every single morning, and I feel so fulfilled after every single day. There are definitely moments that bring me down, and I think, oh man, like that was a really difficult case and I probably didn't handle it to the best of my ability. But in general, I absolutely love my job and I feel really lucky to say that. And I don't know, I'm being such a cheeseball, but like I just feel really great, and I feel really lucky to be able to have this opportunity to go into a new school full time, and I'm really excited for the opportunities that it can unravel for me, and I'm really excited to invest in the teachers there and to be a part of that school culture every single day. But anyways, let's go back to redecorating the office space and seeing what is needed in there. Your girl is done decorating the office space. It is so exciting to finally be able to say that I am officially moved in. Oh my gosh, it took so freaking long. What time is it? It's currently, what, almost 9:30. I definitely did not anticipate staying here for this long, but you know what? It was totally worth it. I am so excited about this space. I think before I did this, I was not really looking forward to starting. I was losing motivation and I was definitely feeling the summer blues. But now that I'm sitting in a space that's done, it's redecorated, it's ready to go, I also feel energized and pumped for the school year to begin. Thank you so much for joining me in this redecorating process. I hope that it was as fun for you as it was for me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!